thrift store in Colorado, and I was instantly in love. Yeah, I had to get it.
All right, guys, we're back here. It's the Poker Night in America Twitch cash game. I'm Bart Hansen, and we are playing 2550 no limit hold'em.
How much did you get that for?
And here are the details of the game: 2550, $5,000 minimum, 20,000 max. We're here in Las Vegas, and let's get back right into the game here. As you can see, we've got the table mic piped back in, so you're going to hear less of me and more of the players.
$25.
You know what it is? It's like an LA hipster thrift shop where like everyone's looking to go to get their new thing.
No, it was in Colorado. $24 goes a longer way than in LA. That's
I'm saying is that's like a $3 thrift store hat. Like I'm not taking anything away from the hat.
no,
it's
but
a good hat.
it was a knitted matched with the scarf, you know, and it was
It's a
had
good
the little
selling
card
point,
of the
yeah,
person who
but
made it.
it's still
And I'm
24.
guessing on the price. I'm pretty sure it was very. I thought it was a fairly.
That's
priced.
Phil Hellmuth.
I mean, it's soft and fits perfect for my goofy head.
I can't get regular beanies because my head's too big. I need like a good size.
This is a big one. Try that. Just try it.
I was like cute on the camera.
Don't mess up your hair. You're having good hair. Oh, wow, look.
I'll give you $100.
I don't even want the scarf. You'll give him 100 just for
We're going to go without cards for this particular hand. Phil Hellmuth opens for a raise. Elke calls.
Someone made it for my head.
Yeah.
But really, they made it for some guy who was like walking across the street and got killed with it. And they put it in there.
But I'm the first one to wear it. It was like hand knitted with the little card.
Check, check. 5, 6, 7.
Oh, geez. Oh.
And turns a deuce. Phil's going to bet, and Elke lets it go, and Phil's going to take it down.
You got a piece
There was
of that board, Phil?
there
I
was-
feel like
there
those
was a little
cards are a
area
little
with
lower
some
than your usual
Scratchy
range.
stuff.
I already
You know,
announced I'm a
like
little tilted.
old.
So Phil says he was a little tilted. If you missed the first part of the show,
Weird stuff, you know.
Phil had his aces
I bet it
cracked
with Todd. So our bet was this.
by a set of
He would show
eights
up to
from
Poker Night in America.
Scott Ball
I bet
about
him a bottle of Macallan 18.
a half an hour into the show.
The Daniel Negreanu would show up at Poker Night in
Yeah, he
America
has a
once.
schedule. He probably knew they weren't in Vegas.
But then he won.
He wanted
And now
to
he
lose,
sits
but-
with
so I
about
bet him a bottle of
7,000
Macallan
in his
18.
stack.
You would show up, but I wasn't allowed to call you or influence you.
Wow.
But once Phil Locke and Antonio and I were on the show, I'm like, Daniel has to come because
What did it have to do with you guys?
Yeah, he's got a Twitch channel, and he likes doing things that promote poker.
well, maybe
This is
all right,
like
maybe I think
super-
differently than you. But if I see you and Antonio on a show, then I kind of want to be on the show. Yeah, you guys are fun to play with.
Yeah, I like playing with you. Everybody does.
You guys are fun to play with. And if you're it's like big time enough, you know.
Yeah, big time now. You gotta keep your reputation. You can't be doing low end stuff. You gotta do like.
You can't play with kids only, you know. You have to play with.
Phil Locke has
Thank
the
you
big
for not
blind
giving me
here.
my points, Daniel.
I got it.
I know. But you asked anyway. You got them all, but you teased me anyway.
Of course I'm gonna tease you.
That's fair.
What's fun about playing with you if I can't tease you? That's the whole point.
Are we gonna get to hang with your wife at Burning Man? She come over to the camp?
I bet she would. She's much cooler than I am.
I've heard.
It's very hard to find somebody at Burning Man. There's 54,000 people
Yeah,
in
that's
a
probably
huge space. And unless you pre-organize, hey, we'll meet at this
Right.
coordinate.
And there's like no form of communication.
Right, so
It's
phones
very-
don't work there.
Walkie-talkies, though, people bring.
Really?
Is that what I'm asking?
That would be
That just
do those
sounds so
work,
much more fun
walkie-talkies
out
or
of
no?
I don't know.
Wow.
You're like 10 years old all
They
over
bring
again.
plastic cups with strings.
Well, the great thing is everybody's accepted there. So they have Billionaires Row, and then they have these other rows. The Billionaires Row took some heat because they weren't sharing all the food, I don't think.
That sounds about right.
Pick up some
They're like, let the peasants get their own food.
They just had somebody fly in fresh meals every day.
Wow.
No, I'm not saying that's the case. But they may have.
Billionaires Row, that was the thing? That's what they
Yeah,
called it?
there was like row B or something. It was
Row
like,
B for billionaires.
I think that
Serious.
ours is going to be pretty close to that, from what I'm told. I mean, no, it's not like plush by your standards, but
Who are
like,
you in an RV with?
I think Waxman and.
yeah, but you guys fly. You guys probably fly in. You land. You get shuttled
I'll
over.
drive it.
You
Yeah,
got an engineer
I wanna
doing the
drive it.
pH balance.
Oh,
on
and
your
he's going to
car.
take it down.
I
I was ready to hold on.
Oh, yeah?
If I bet the river,
From
I'm
where?
betting
Arena?
825. But I'm gonna have an ace when I do it.
How much? Well,
And
you
I'm
don't
gonna
have to tell
check
me now,
online.
but.
The story
Well,
does
there's an
check out.
airstrip
Actually.
right next to
Since
Bernie.
you didn't bet.
You know, I want to be part
Or
of
if I
it.
had two
I wanna
pairs
get in.
straight or some funky
I'll
guy,
wait
I
in the
think I'm
line for
winning
9 hours, whatever
I
it
was
is.
thinking about
RVs
making like
are fun.
3,000 if you bet like 800.
So,
Something like that. That would like really make it hard
just
to
get
talk.
to-
Right now, I
You're
can
driving, you're not
non-polarized,
driving, you're at
cap
home.
range, all that stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Then we
I don't know
start
who's
talking.
actually driving.
What does that
Hopefully
mean?
not me.
It means he's narrowed down the.
Antonio's-
play.
I mean, like,
Antonio's
driving
flying,
dinner
right?
area on
That's,
that front.
that's right.
Again, we're
never been
here
before,
playing
but I
25,
just-
50, no limit hold'em.
Antonio's gonna drive?
I just want to be part of it.
This is the Poker Night in America. Twitch,
They
no
love to
limit
drive.
hold'em.
Don't you think you might
A
love
lot of times
Cash
they go to the
game
Peppermill,
sponsored by
they go to
888
the
Poker,
Billy Pagnetti,
DraftKings,
they do something
and
poker
Giant
related,
Sunflower
and then they
Seeds.
leave from
Yeah.
there, and the RVs are stored up in
The
that
beautiful
area, I think.
Peppermill Arena.
I'm Bart Hansen, and I'm following
last couple of
the
years we've
Twitch
done
chat. And you can tweet me
Casual
at Bart
plug.
Hansen. As the real Kid Poker, Daniel
beautiful.
Negrano is going to raise it to
Beautiful
200 with
resort.
pocket queens.
Or you can run it up.
run it
Jason
up.
Somerville.
That's right.
Let's run up to Reno.
My favorite is.
Pepperville.
See you guys next time. Peace. Click.
That's right.
Jason Somerville, Jay Carver
Yeah,
Poker.
puts the two right
right.
into
He's going to
the-
call with 10-9 offsuit.
That's how we do. After every show, it's peace and much love to you. That's how we do it.
Top set here for Negrano. But Somerville's got an open-ended
Neil,
straight
From
draw.
here, it looks like
Literally.
it's a little-
It is
I hear that the highlight of your
Well, I
stream
can't
is
see.
your stream,
Yeah, I
literally.
streamed on stream.
I will fold. And we should,
Negrano bet 600. Somerville's going to call with his straight draw.
So many good turn cards for us to hit.
Oh, and
Let's
Daniel
think about this
fills
one,
up.
guys. I mean, think about if this comes up. Maybe we can do this.
And he overbets the turn.
I have a full house.
You guys are so-
That'd be a good hand.
My hand was better than yours, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Doesn't that mean you bet turn cards for him then?
Yeah.
That means you bet turn cards for him.
Couldn't
Are
do
you
it.
sure there are a lot of good
I
turn cards
checked
for
my
him?
hand, that's why I bet so much on the turn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, you know, you could hit 3 and make 4.
So we can
Yeah.
clean this up, yeah. If we can. Yeah, those are hers. That's 10 you guys got it. Let's see.
Yeah.
It's like a,
What's up with the card? It's fine. It's playing small. Who cares?
it's like a small
Looks like there might be a little bit of a mark in
when
the
it's
card.
face up, you can see that there's a crimp. When it's
Yeah.
face down, you can't see anything.
It's better now. No, you could have. But it's better.
I don't think you can see it now. I think it's
I-
fixed.
Bring in a new deck, let's go.
Uh-oh. Helmy says bring in a new deck. They're going to
It's
bring in
just
a
the
new
Queen of
deck.
Diamonds. The deck is still integral. When you get the next RFID deck, just take.
And that's the thing about RFID cards. It's not like they are just regular cards. I think they run about, what, $300 a deck? Is that right? Something around there, if not more.
I didn't
Yeah.
know nobody's got to do 7, or did somebody play it and get caught in?
Bit
Delta, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
So every one of these guys
I could
by
have
twitches
accident.
out
Forget it.
on a regular basis, with the exception of Phil Hellmuth, of course.
terrible fold with me. Based on that.
And Scott Ball over there in seat number 8 works for Twitch.
You might have to play like all 11, like 12-hour sessions. Get to do 7.
We've got Maria Ho in seat number 1. Randy Liu.
Yeah. You're like, well, I was only going to play
Nanako
4
in
or
seat
5
2.
hours, but now I'm
Jason
going to stay
Somerville
for
in seat
the
3.
entire
Phil Locke
session.
in seat 4. Dan O'Brien in seat 5. Phil Hellmuth in seat
12
6.
hours.
Elke in seat 7. Scott Ball in seat 8.
It's a lot.
And of course, Daniel Negrano in seat 9.
Phil Locke will make it because he
If you're
is
losing,
the
you'll make
king
it.
of long sessions, I
There's
think.
at least one
His
player.
back would
on
always
here.
start to hurt when he hit a certain amount. Like if he was up like 10,000, like my back, I don't know.
That's half the world.
my
I'm
back.
sorry.
And if he was stuck, his back was just fine.
Never heard.
In that case,
That's
I'm
for
a
3
little bit. I'm
days.
getting really sore, guys.
Yeah.
Someone's winning all the money. They all have a meeting.
Maria Ho's going to
But if they're
raise it,
buried,
take it
there's no
down.
meeting tomorrow.
Pull it off.
They're just fine to play till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
For the
It's so much
technical
more to
points,
hit and
yeah,
run
I took
online.
16 and
Like,
put it in my backpack,
but in
and with
person,
the
you
other
gotta be
4 I
like,
did it
oh.
before the option flipped, so
Yeah.
everyone's stack is the same except his increased by 4.
Some people are asking what Maria Ho's Twitch
3 days when they're
address
buried.
is, and it is Maria Ho.
I used to do it when I was
Dan O'Brien has the button here in seat 5.
48 hours and play.
enjoy it. Can't. I know it's not the point, you know.
Many people enjoy staying up 2 days.
Yeah, but I just-
Oh, it's, you
I
actually
can't
get
do it.
loopy and goofy. 33, you know, like, or whatever, 25 hours in, and
Yeah.
he knows he played for what, 5 straight days.
Yeah, you do get loopy and
So you
goofy.
just broke a world record.
$100 is pretty sick.
Almost?
But somebody broke that, right, Phil?
Well, people broke it before and after, but just the Guinness recording 2 witnesses
You
every
had
half an
that?
hour. Yeah, the
Sick.
series of witnesses and 15, which is
Wow.
5 hours shy of 5.
Rhea raises
crazy,
it
dude.
with
You
queen
couldn't
of
push
diamonds.
yourself to that fight, like.
Yeah.
Gets called by
That was a lot of
Phil with
5-minute
ace queen and
break,
Elke with
and
ace
that was
six.
allowed to stack
Imagine
those
80
breaks as
more.
well. So if I played, let's say,
Good. 90 more.
4 hours,
Yeah.
and took a
I don't
break,
think
then I'd have
playing that game
15
with
minutes
them the
booked up.
No.
Everyone
Back
misses
hour?
this flop.
Yeah, on the every day and a half, I would stretch the yoga.
No way you could have made it 5 extra hours to get.
Yeah,
to
I
the
could
5
have.
days.
The reason why
did
I
you stop?
quit was strangely because it was becoming too easy, and I thought, ooh, this is a
This
scary
could be
thing.
like, I could be doing this for 3 weeks.
Really?
I quit because it was
Kinda
effortless.
mad.
I was afraid.
Rhea
The
bets
adrenaline
out.
was
Phil
such
calls
major
ace queen, which is the
overcharge,
best hand.
just surging through my body. I
And
just
now
thought,
he
oh, this
hits
is-
an ace.
It doesn't hurt anymore.
And Rhea checks here, and Phil's going to check it back.
And
So
you
I
did
quit.
this so
I took a Ustream.
And now Maria is going to bluff at it here.
I wore
Pot's 1175. She bets 800.
People were saying, "Oh, he's
And
sleeping."
Phil's going to call.
Whatever.
Queen high.
What did you
Ton of hours.
interviews and then I just hours has elapsed.
Again, we're here for the Poker Night in America
Thing happened the
Twitch
next-
cash game, brought to you by 888 Poker, DraftKings, and Giant Sunflowers. Giant Sunflowers, of course, the preferred sunflower seeds of poker players and professional baseball players
Like
alike.
pogo sticking for
Check them out.
you know,
Button moves over here to Phil Hellmuth. And Locke's going to open this one here for a raise.
a lot of it because I bought it.
Dan O'Brien re-raises, and he's going to take it down.
Decided let's make it.
So Helmuth is probably going to be the big winner here so far for the day. There hasn't been a ton of
2010.
chip movement here. We've played
Friday,
for
Saturday was
about 2 hours. You know, Randy Liu is probably
so.
a guy that's probably the big loser so far. Not huge, and Daniel Negreanu is up just from that hand with the King 10 and the King Queen right before we went to break. We haven't seen any crazy pots so far as Randy opens here for a raise. And Phil's going to make the call.
Crazy mode or just regular? No. No, isolate and punish. You know,
Dan O'Brien's going to 3-bet here once again. Makes it 650.
moment.
Wow.
And he's going to take it down. So we hadn't heard much from Dan O'Brien the first couple hours, but a couple of 3-bets here now in a row.
But you're not really bluffing when you have.
And he's won a nice few pots here in a row.
Nobody's got himself.
7-3.
I had the opportunity to play with Dan O'Brien in a few events here at the World Series in Vegas over the summer. Really strong player. In tournaments and both and cash games as well.
Not a bad way to do it.
Definitely seems really comfortable at the table. Of course, Randy Liu, get a good shot at him, you know, just a legend in online poker, multi-tabling, you know, so many tables of mid-stakes online poker. Well, this time Dan's not going to 3-bet, he's going to call. And again, you know, you see Lock open here, 225 with a unorthodox hand, 7-3 suited. Helmuth is also going to call here with pocket deuces from behind.
Exact specific cards.
And Maria Ho is going to re-raise squeeze here to 1,300 with 7 deuce of diamonds. Wow. Now, to my knowledge, there's no 7 deuce game going on. I mean, usually when you see someone re-raise with 7 deuce, they're going to show. Now, I might not be privy to a 7 deuce bounty going on. And that's usually one of the first things that goes through my mind when somebody makes a big re-raise as a bluff with 7 deuce. I would imagine that she's going to show it if she wins it, but Helmuth's going to call. Helmuth is going to call. Now, those yellow chips are $1,000 chips, so he's about 8,000 or 9,000 deep. He makes a pretty big call here for you know, another 1,100 more, and she flops the best of it with a pair of 7s. The pot is 3,000 now. I mean, you imagine she's going to c-bet here and take it down unless Helmuth just does not believe her at all, but you know, she hasn't really messed around pre-flop here so far today. She bets out here. 1,700, and he calls. And he is trying to 1 out. Turn is the 4 of hearts. He could make a running flush here, though, as well. Pot is now just under 6,500. And if you're, you know, Maria Ho, you got to be scared when Helmuth calls you pre-flop and then calls your flop bet. She checks. And is he going to turn his hand into a bluff here, or is he just content to try to get it to showdown?
$1,100.
And he bets 1,100, it sounds like. Yeah, 1,100 into 64.75.
It's not earlier in the month, actually. It's easier or later in the month.
And she calls with the best hand. And this might get Helmuth to blast off if this goes check-check at the end here. If she wins with 7 deuce. The river's a king. Check, check. Let's see it. She's got a sly grin on her face.
Oh my god.
Wow. Bounties? Yep, there they are. There they are. I knew it. Obviously playing the 7 deuce game.
200 over there. Those 200.
I said 200 already.
Well, actually, you know, he's a little tame. I thought he would actually be a little bit. I thought he was going to be a little bit more upset than what he was, but.
Or that I didn't have.
But obviously, they're playing the 7 deuce game, so there's a reason for it. So it looked like she picked up an extra 200 to 300 from each player there. And if anyone's not familiar with the 7 deuce game, if you win with 7 deuce and you show it down, you win an extra, however, whatever the amount is that people decide to play. It's called the 7 deuce bounty. It looks like here it's 300 a person. If you win with 7 deuce, everyone's giving you $300 extra. Just a way to add some action to the game.
That's my thing.
Crossbow.
And then when you
Crazy.
took
Up in poker in our life.
5 games at 105.
Scott Ball here with 2 red 7s, and Phil Walks flopped the flush here with 4-5 of clubs. He brought it open here for a raise. He's got straight flush draw here too. He's going to lead right out here. And Ball will make the call. Turn here is the 10 of diamonds.
1, 2, 3, boom.
The spread of things is not that efficient.
In the crack would make your life, you just got overload.
And now he checks, and Scott's going to check right behind. Wow. 4,000 here. Boom, at the end. That's what I talk about with Phil. Definitely makes some out-of-the-box plays. Scott quickly folds.
Not a great turn.
The board was
But if I'm calling 12,
10,
Not
7, 4,
folding
2.
deuce.
That's what they call it. Sticky D.
Strong tempo. And when there is a board. Yeah, they can hear also. Hill, so it's like.
Oh, there's a couple healing.
Yeah.
Which is a 0.
had to do the 3. They all had to do 7B.
Somebody's going to raise here with pocket 7s.
Hard for you to.
And Somerville's going to make the call here with 8, 9 of spades.
Jack 10 plays okay.
Check, check on the flop, and then Phil bets the turn. He's going to take it down.
It's like, watch, this is
Oh, man.
and then when it came to Jack.
Oh, here we go. We're going to take a look at here at the chip count. You can see that Negreanu's got the table covered here with over 20,000. Maria's got just under 19,000. Can we get that? Can we put that graphic back up, you guys? Oh, no. Yeah, just for, you know, put that one.
Yeah, that's a tough.
Okay. Try to get that chip count graphic up there, so.
Stupid. Like, bros, what the hell?
Try to give you guys a reference of who's up and who's down for the night.
Last month he was like 11, no? He's like rank 6, but.
Elke's played it pretty close to the vest. You know, that's usually what I end up finding when, you know, when you get guys who are, you know, exclusively no limit tournament players come into a cash game, that they play it pretty tight.
Played it. You'll probably beat me in that too, Danny.
Andy, which deck do you play?
Mage.
Scott Ball had opened this pot for a raise with ace-3 of diamonds. Hits top pair, and it goes check, check.
Well, this is more of a card game.
Right, I
Turn
know.
is a queen, and now he will bet.
Right, exactly, which is why I'll be even better at this
And
game.
Oh, you will be.
he's not going to get Phil to make any types of crazy plays at it, and he's going to take it down.
I defended with the 8.
So like, then I went to like. It's like a tutorial, like 10 minutes.
I'm
explain,
so.
like,
What do you try
later.
to do? So I like watch the video, and after like I learn a little bit more, watch some more videos, and after that I start.
Very, very funny guy. Or craft girlfriend and the guy that doesn't talk a lot in their apartment. Funny. I've watched like 4 of his videos.
It'd be
He
so
talks
funny
about
if he was-
Dominion. Will come in the room once in a
In the entire world, if it's him.
Maria Ho's going to bring this one in here for a raise. She's going to raise it up here with ace-7 offsuit. Just won
By
that
like twice as
pretty
much.
big pot, squeezing with 7-deuce offsuit against Phil Hellmuth,
He had, like,
and
two
getting the
aces.
7-deuce bounty.
Plus your
She's
point.
probably going to be the big winner here so far tonight just because of that hand.
That's what they said. That's like
That's probably
probably
the
just
I'm gonna. No, I can't do it yet. I could have. Could have done it exactly.
And Locke and Somerville both call. Everybody misses here. Somerville with the best of it with ace-10.
I check. It has to be him.
Where's this kid live?
And Maria's going to make a continuation bet here with ace-high.
Funny. As
350 into
stuff I'm waiting
500.
for, and it was the funniest
Looks
stuff.
like Jason's going to continue on here, though, with his ace-10, which is the best of it right now. Phil's going to get out of the way.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Turn here is a 6. And if Maria checks, it'll be interesting to see what Somerville does. Is he going to bet? Is he going to check it back, thinking that he's got the best hand and that he doesn't need to bet? But it looks like he is going to fire. And I imagine that Maria's just going to get rid of it and live to see another day. It's one of the differences between tournament and cash game poker. You know, you don't have to win the pots. There's no inherent need to fight for every single pot. Just because you lose or win a pot doesn't give you any advantage over the next pot. You can always reload. You don't have any, advantage just because you have more chips one hand than the next versus someone else, like in a tournament. You know, I'm mainly a cash game player, and I sometimes have to, remind myself that when I play tournaments, especially when I play at the World Series, that, hey, I can't make this value bet in this particular spot because if I'm wrong in a tournament, it's going to hurt me later on. I have to save these chips. Scott Ball actually mucking pocket deuces there from up front. If those graphics were correct, pretty nitty stuff. And Mariaho's going to open here with 9-8 of diamonds. Randy Lou calls with pocket 5s. Phil Locke with 9-10 suited. He's going to come in, as is Dan O'Brien, and we're going to see a family pot here. Looks like Helmuth's in there as well. So 5 ways. Wow, Phil opening it up with 3-4 offsuit. 5 ways here. Ooh, big flop. Look at this. Dan O'Brien with 10-8 of clubs, top pair. Straight flush draw. Phil Locke's flopped the nuts here. Maria Ho's got 9-8 of diamonds. Look at this flop, folks. This is monstrous. And Locke's got the stone cold nuts. He's going to bet out on the button. It gets checked to him. Dan O'Brien has just called, it looks like. This is an absolute monstrous flop. Maria Ho didn't bet the flop as the pre-flop raiser with 9-8. Top pair open-ended with 9-8. Locke's got 9-10 for the nut straight. Dan O'Brien with 10-8 of clubs for top pair. Gut shot straight flush draw. Maria Ho is going to play this as a check raise as the pre-flop raiser. Wow. That's one way of playing it. And Phil Locke has the nuts, and they are deep. Remember, Maria started this hand with 18,000, and Phil Locke is pretty close to having her covered. I think he started with at least 15, and he's just calling her. He's got the nuts. It's a very, very wet board. She has check raised as the pre-flop raiser. He just calls, and Dan O'Brien's got 10-8 of clubs behind. Now, he's not that deep. And he might come back over the top here for a shove. We'll see. This is a crazy hand. I'm really, really surprised that Locke is just calling here when Maria Ho has check-raised this board as the pre-flop raiser, basically announcing that she's got a big hand. And what is Dan O'Brien going to do? Really, really big hand here. Probably the biggest hand we've seen here so far. Definitely the biggest hand we've seen so far. O'Brien appears to be at least 10,000 deep as well. He's got a stack of pinks, which is about 10,000. Now, one of the things as an experienced cash game player that might be going through his head is his draw dominated? His hand might appear to be bigger than it actually is. Meaning like, yeah, he's got top pair and a straight flush draw, but if someone else has a made hand like Locke and he's up against a draw that's bigger than his hand's garbage. Like if someone had the ace high flush draw and someone had a straight already, he'd have very little equity. And I think that's might be what's going through his head right here. Some guys really overplay a hand, but when you're in a multi-way spot with 10-8 of clubs and you see heat in front with two other people, you can sometimes get away from it. A bet, a check raise, but he's just going to go with it. He's getting it in. I thought for a second he was going to fold. It looked like he was putting the cards, but he's just check raising, looked like to 7,000. And now for Maria Ho, I mean, she only has 9-8. I thought that she played this hand a little bit strangely as a check raise, as the pre-flop raiser with 9-8, and I think that she can just get away from it here. I mean, she has check raised Phil Locke. Phil Locke has called. Then she has gotten back raised by Dan O'Brien. Back raised all in by Dan O'Brien out of the small blind. Still have to worry about Phil Locke behind you. I think that she's gonna find a rather easy fold here. And then obviously Locke and O'Brien are gonna get it in for a massive, massive pot. Yep. And again, not sure if they're going to run it multiple times here or what. Obviously, we can't hear them. Here we go to the turn. Turn is a 5. Oh, and the river's the 4 of clubs. So Dan's going to win the first run. They are running it multiple times. Turn is the queen of diamonds. River is an 8. And it looks like they're running it 3 times. And I'll explain that to you guys if you don't know. Queen of spades on the third run. Running it 4 times, actually. Jack and then a 7 on the 4th time. So Phil Locke wins 3 out of 4 times here. So he is going to win 3/4 of the entire pot. And I'll explain to you guys what running the cards more than once does. And when you're in a cash game, sometimes what they'll do when they get it all in is they'll run the cards, they'll run the entire board, or they'll run the turn in the river, or they'll run the river more than one time. And all that does is actually reduces the variance. So in that situation, let's say that Phil Locke was about 60% to win the hand. That might not necessarily have been exactly what the odds were, but we'll just say that he was about a 60% favorite to win the hand, 60-40. And let's say that they just get it all in and they decide to run the turn in the river 1 time. Well, he's going to win 60% of the time. And let's say the pot's $10,000. Well, for every, say, 10 times that they run it, he's going to lose 4 times. So if he only runs it 1 time, he's going to lose a fair amount of the time. He's going to lose 40% of the time. So the way that you cut your variance down is you run the cards more than once. If he runs it, say, 2 or 3 or 4 times, it's actually, the more times you run it, it's actually going to cut the variance down. It's actually going to be closer to what your overall expectation is. So if you run the cards 4 times, the chances are he's going to usually win about 3 out of 4 times. if he's about 60%. More often than not, he's going to win 3 out of 4 times to win about 75% of the pot. So all running the cards does is it cuts your variance down, and it brings your expectation to closer to what it actually is. So let's say that you are a 75% favorite in a given situation, and you ran, the board, you ran the cards 3 times. More often than not, you're going to win 2 out of 3 times. If you just ran it once, you have a chance that you could lose the entire thing. Sure, you could win the entire thing. Most of the time, you're going to win the entire thing, but some of the time, you can lose the entire thing. So that's why you do it. It cuts the variance down. And a lot of cash players want to cut their variance down. So in that particular case, they ran it 4 times. Lock won 3 out of the 4 times. So in that $20,000 pot, he won 3/4 of 20,000, which ends up being about, what is 3/4 of 20,000? $15,000. He wins 15,000. Dan O'Brien wins 5,000. In a nutshell, tried to make that as simple as possible. Again, we're playing 25-50 no limit hold'em. Poker Night in America Twitch stream, sponsored by 888 Poker, DraftKings, Crush Live Poker, and Giant Sunflower Seeds. Pretty exciting hand there. Button moves here to Dan O'Brien. I'm following the Twitch chat, and of course you can tweet me at Bart Hansen. Randy Lou here is going to bet out 500. King Deuce 3. Turn is a 3. Looks like we don't have the cards here in this particular hand. And now Somerville is going to bet here on the turn. And Randy Lou's going to call. River here is a jack. And Somerville's going to bet here again at the end. And Randy's going to fold. Didn't quite get the graphics there on that hand. Button's going to move here to Phil Hellmuth. Okay. All right. All right, guys, I'm back. So I just got word that we are going to be going without graphics temporarily here to try to fix the table audio. So I'm going to do my best here to try to follow the action here as best as we can. Again, You know, we're here, we're doing this live cash game here in not a studio, so the guys are doing the best that we could possibly do. And I'm trying to hold down the fort here. We're doing this, over the course of 2 days, and we're only in our second hour here with a great lineup, 25-50 no limit cash game, and Phil Locke and Maria Ho are big winners here so far in this game. And all these guys twitch out. If you're new to any of the stuff on Twitch, playing poker, they all twitch out, with the exception of Phil Hellmuth. They all twitch out. They're all usually playing online poker. Jason Somerville is the biggest one, or he gets the most following. Guy over there in seat 3 who just waved with the hat. And he actually might come in here, possibly, too. I wonder if he's one of these guys actually might come in here and talk with me for a little bit, too. But, yeah, poker's become a big thing on Twitch now that it's been allowed over the last 6 to 8 months on Twitch. There's a look at Scott Ball, who works for Twitch over there in seat 8, too. Maria Ho. And if you're not familiar with poker, we just finished the World Series of Poker, which goes on in Vegas every summer at the Rio. Every summer at the Rio from May through July. We just finished the main event maybe about 6 days ago. And somebody at this table, Daniel Negreanu, finished 11th for $526,000, just under $527,000. Finished 11th. I think that was actually his best showing ever in the main event. Phil Hellmuth right there won another bracelet in the 10,000 Raz event. So we're going to be going blind here with the cards. Dan O'Brien raises this one up. And he's heads up here against Phil Locke. Okay, guys, so we are going to take a break here for 5 minutes, and we will be back right after this. I'm going to try to go through some of these difficulties, so stick with us. We appreciate your patience. We'll be back.
Thrift store in Colorado, and I was instantly in love.
Yeah.
I had to get it.
All right, guys, we're back here. It's the Poker Night in America Twitch cash game. I'm Bart Hansen, and we are playing 25-50 no limit hold'em.
How much did you get that for?
And here are the details of the game: 25-50, $5,000 minimum, 20,000 max. We're here in Las Vegas, and let's get back right into the game here. As you can see, we've got the table mic piped back in, so you're going to hear less of me and more of the players.
$25.
You know what it is? It's like an LA hipster thrift shop where like everyone's looking to go to get the new thing.
No, it was in Colorado. $24 goes a longer way than in LA.
What I'm saying is that's like a $3 thrift store hat. Like I'm not taking anything away from the hat.
No,
it's
but
a good hat.
it was a knitted matched with the scarf, and it was
It's a
had
good
the little
selling
card
point,
of the
yeah,
person who
but
made it.
still,
And I'm
24.
guessing on the price. I'm pretty sure it was I thought it was a fairly
That's
priced.
Phil Hellmuth.
I mean, it's soft and fits perfect for my goofy head.
I can't get regular beanies because my head's too big. I need like a good size.
This is a big one. Try that. Just try it.
Cute on the camera.
Don't mess up your hair, having good hair. Oh, wow, look.
I'll give you $100.
You don't even want the scarf, you'll give him 100 just for
We're going to go without cards for this particular hand. Phil Hellmuth opens for a raise. Elke calls.
$650.
one made it for my head.
Yeah.
But really, they made it for some guy who was like walking across the street and got killed with it. And they put it in there.
But I'm the first one to wear it. It was like hand knitted with the little card.
Check,
lady
check.
down that had a-
5, 6, 7.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, head.
Oh.
And turns a deuce. Phil's gonna
But,
bet,
this
and
is not-
Elkie
this
lets
isn't
it
a-
go, and Phil's gonna take it down.
If you had a piece
There was
of that
stuff-
board, Phil,
there
I
was-
feel like
there
those
was a little
cards are a
area
little
with
lower
some
than your usual.
I'm a
scratchy
little,
stuff.
range.
I already
You know,
announced I'm a
like
little tilted. So.
Old
So Phil says he was a little
cards
tilted.
that
If you
we
missed the
found
first part of the show,
weird stuff, you know.
Phil had his aces
I bet
cracked
it was Todd. So our bet was this.
by a set of
He would show
8s
up to
from
Poker Night in
Oh, you bet it
America.
was
Scott Ball
I bet
about
him a bottle of Macallan 18.
a half an hour into the show.
That Daniel Negreanu would show up at Poker Night in
Yeah, he
America.
has a
once
schedule. He probably knew they weren't in Vegas.
But then he won.
he wanted
and now
to
he
lose,
sits
but-
with
so I bet
about
him a bottle of
7,000
Macallan
in his
18.
stack.
You would show up, but I wasn't allowed to call you or influence you.
Wow.
But once Phil Locke and Antonio and I were on the show, I'm like, Daniel has to come because
What did it have to do with you guys?
Yeah, he's got a Twitch channel, and he likes doing things that promote poker.
well, maybe
This is
all right,
like
maybe I think
super-
differently than you. But if I see you and Antonio on a show, then I kind of want to be on the show. Yeah, you guys are fun to play with.
Yeah, I like playing with you. Everybody does.
You guys are fun to play with. And if you're, it's like big time enough, you know.
Yeah, big time enough. You gotta keep a reputation. You can't be doing low end stuff. You gotta do like.
You can't play with kids only, you know, you have to play with.
Phil Locke has
Thank
the
you
big
for not
blind
giving me
here.
my points, Daniel.
I got it.
I know. Yeah, but you asked anyway. You got them all, but you teased me anyway.
Of course I'm gonna tease you.
That's fair.
What's fun about playing with you if I can't tease you? That's the whole point.
Are we gonna get to hang with your wife at Burning Man? She come over to the camp?
I bet she would. She's much cooler than I am.
I've heard.
It's very hard to find somebody at Burning Man. There's 54,000 people
Yeah,
in
that's
a huge,
about that many.
huge space. And unless you pre-organize, hey, we'll meet at this
Right.
coordinate.
And there's like no form of communication.
Right, cell phones don't
very-
work there.
Walkie-talkies, though, people bring.
Really?
Is that what I'm asking?
That would be
That just
Do those
sounds so
work
much more
walkie
fun out
talkies
of
or
those
no?
walkie.
I don't know.
So you're like 10 years old all
They
over
bring
again.
plastic cups with strings.
Well, the great thing is everybody's accepted there, so they have billionaires row. And then they have these other rows. The billionaires row took some heat because they weren't sharing all the food, I don't think.
That sounds about right.
Pick up some
They're like, let the peasants get their own food.
They just had somebody fly in fresh meals every day.
Wow.
From the plane.
No, I'm not saying that's the case. But they may have.
Billionaires Row, that was the thing? That's what they
Yeah,
called it?
there was like row B or something. It was
Row
like-
B for billionaires.
I think that
Serious.
ours is gonna be pretty close to that, is what I'm told. I mean, no, it's not like plush by your standards, but
Who
like,
are you in an RV with?
I think Waxman and.
Yeah, but you guys fly, you guys probably fly in, you land, you get shuttled
I'll
over.
drive it.
You
Yeah,
got
I'll
an engineer
I wanna
doing the
drive it.
pH
Oh,
balance.
and
on
he's
it.
gonna take it down.
I was ready to hold on.
Oh, yeah?
If I bet the river,
From
I'm
where?
betting
Reno?
825. But I'm gonna have an ace when I do it.
How much? Well,
And
you
I'm
don't
gonna
tell
check
me now,
online.
but.
The story
Well,
does
there's
check
an
out,
airstrip
actually.
right next to
Since
Burning
you didn't
Man.
bet.
You know, I want to be part
Or
of
if I
the
had
team.
two
I want
pairs
to get
straight
in.
or some funky
I'll
guy,
wait
I
in the
think I'm
line for
winning
9 hours, whatever
I
it
was
is.
thinking about
RVs
making like
are fun.
3,000 if you bet like 800
It's,
something. That would like really make it hard
just
to
get
talk.
to-
Right, now I
You're
can
driving, but you're not
polarized
driving, you're at
cap
home.
range, all that stuff.
That's right, yeah. Then we
I don't know
start
who's
talking.
actually driving,
and
but
then-
hopefully not me.
It means he's narrowed down the.
Antonio's
I mean, like,
Antonio's
driving
flying,
in
right?
area,
That's,
not home.
that's right.
Again,
never
we're
been
here
to
playing
Florida, so I don't
25-50, no limit hold'em.
Antonio's gonna drive?
I
thought
just
he
want
would
to be part of the
This
team.
is the Poker Night in America Twitch
They
no
love to
limit
drive.
hold'em
Don't you think you might
A
love
lot of times
cash
they go to the
game
Peppermill,
sponsored by
they go to
888
the
Poker,
Billy Pagnetti,
DraftKings,
they do something
and
poker
Giant
related.
Sunflower
And then they
Seeds.
leave from
Yeah.
there, and the RVs are stored up in
The
that
beautiful
area, I think.
Peppermill Reno.
I'm Bart Hansen, and I'm following
Last couple
the
years I've
Twitch
done
chat. And you can tweet me
Casual
at Bart
plug.
Hansen. As the real Kid Poker, Danny
beautiful.
Negreanu is going to raise it
The
to
beautiful
200 with
resorts.
pocket queens.
Where you can run it up.
Can run it
Jason
up.
Somerville.
That's right.
Let's run up to Reno.
My favorite is.
Pepperville.
See you guys next time. Peace. Click.
That's right.
Jason Somerville, Jay Carver
Oh, yeah, he, like,
Poker.
puts the two right
right.
into
He's going to
the-
call with 10-9 offsuit.
That's how we do. After every show, it's peace and much love to you.
To you.
That's how we do it.
Top set here for Negreanu. But Somerville's got an open-ended
Neil,
straight
from
draw.
here it looks Literally.
It is
I hear that the highlight of your
But I
stream
can't
is
see.
your stream, literally.
Yeah, I streamed on stream.
I will fold, and we should.
Grano bet 600. Somerville's going to call with his straight draw.
So many good turn cards for us to hit.
Well, and
Let's
Daniel
think about
fills
this,
up.
guys. I mean, think about if this comes up. Maybe we can do this.
And he overbets the turn.
I have a full house.
You guys are so-
That'd be a good hand.
My hand was better than yours, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's not that many great turn cards for him then.
Yeah.
That many great turn cards for him.
Are you sure there are a lot of good
I
turn
didn't
cards
project
for
my
him?
hand, that's why I bet so much on the turn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, you know, you could hit 3 and make 4.
So we can
Yeah.
clean this up, yeah. If we can. Yeah, those are pretty. That's kind you guys got it. Let's see.
Yeah.
It's like a,
What's up with the card? It's fine. It's playing small. Who cares?
it's like a fall.
Looks like there might be a little bit of a mark in
when
the
it's
card.
face up, you can see that there's a crimp. When it's
Yeah.
face down, you can't see anything.
That's better now. No, you could have, but it's better.
I don't think you can see it now.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
fixed.
Bring in a new deck. Let's go.
Uh-oh. Helmy says bring in a new deck. They're going to
It's
bring in
just
a
the
new
Queen of
deck.
Diamonds. The deck is still integral. When you get the next RFID deck, just take.
And that's the thing about RFID cards. It's not like they are just regular cards. I think they run about, what, $300 a deck? Is that right? Something around there, if not more.
I didn't
Yeah.
know, nobody's got to do 7, or did somebody play it and get caught in?
Bit.
Delta, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
So every one of these guys
I could have
By
pitches
accident.
out
Forget it.
on a regular basis, with the exception of Phil Hellmuth, of course.
terrible folds. Based on that.
And Scott Ball over there in seat number 8 works for Twitch.
You might have to play like all 11, like 12-hour sessions. Get to do 7.
We've got Maria Ho in seat number 1. Randy Liu.
Yeah.
I think that's
You're like, well, I was only going to play
Nanako
4
in
or
seat
5
2.
hours, but now
Jason
I'm going to stay
Somerville
for
in
the
seat 3.
entire
Phil Locke
session.
in seat 4. Dan O'Brien in seat 5. Phil Hellmuth in seat 6.
Hours, like-
Elke in seat 7. Scott Ball in seat 8.
It's a lot.
And of course, Daniel Negreanu in seat 9.
Phil Locke will make it because he
If you're
is
losing,
the
you'll make
king
it.
of long sessions, I
As long as
think.
there's at least one
His
player.
back would
I'll be
always
there.
start to hurt when he hit a certain amount. Like if he was up like 10,000, like my back, I don't know.
That's half the world.
My
I'm
back.
sorry.
And if he was stuck, his back was just fine.
Never heard.
In that case,
That's
I'm
for
a
3
little bit. I'm
days.
getting really sore, guys.
Yeah.
Someone's winning all the money. They all have a meeting.
Maria Ho's going to
But if they're
raise it,
buried,
take it
there's
down.
no meeting tomorrow.
Pull it off.
They're just fine to play till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
For the,
It's so much more to hit and
Yeah,
run
I took
online.
16 and
Like,
put it in my backpack,
but in
and with
person,
the
you
other
gotta be
4 I
like,
did it.
oh.
I did 4 drops and flips, so
Yeah.
everyone's stack is the same except his increased by 4.
Some people are asking what Maria Ho's Twitch address is, and it is Maria Ho.
I used to do it when I was
Dan O'Brien has the button here in seat 5.
48 hours and play.
Enjoy it. I know it's not the point. You don't.
Many people enjoy staying up for 2 days.
Yeah. But
Oh, it's, you
I
actually
can't
get
do
loopy
it.
and goofy. 33, you know, like, or whatever, 25 hours in, and
Yeah.
he knows he played for what, 5 straight days?
Yeah, you do
Alright,
get
so
loopy and
He just
goofy.
broke a world record.
100 hours is really sick.
Almost.
But somebody broke that, right, Phil?
Well, people broke it before and after, but just the Guinness recording 2 witnesses
You
every
had
half an
that?
hour. Yeah, the
Sick.
series of witnesses and 15, which is
Wow.
5 hours shy of 5.
Maria raises
crazy,
it
dude.
with
You
queen
couldn't
and a
push
diamond.
yourself to that fight, like,
Yeah,
Gets called by
That was a
Phil
lot of
with ace
five
queen
minutes.
and Elke with
and
ace
that was
6.
a lot of stack
Imagine
those
80
breaks as
more.
well. So if I played, let's say,
Good. 90 more.
4 hours
Yeah,
and took
I
a
don't
break,
think
then I'd
we
have
played that
15
game
minutes
like in the
booked up.
No.
Everyone
Back
misses
hour?
this flop.
Yeah, on the every day and a half, I would stretch the yoga.
no way you could have made it 5 extra hours to get
Yeah,
to
I
the
could
5
have.
days.
The reason why
did
I
you start?
quit was strangely because it was becoming too easy, and I thought, ooh, this is a
This
scary
could be
thing.
like, I could be doing this for 3 weeks.
Really?
I quit because it was
Kinda
effortless. I was afraid.
Maria
The
bets
adrenaline
out
was
Phil
such
calls with
major
ace queen, which is the
overcharge,
best hand.
surging through my body. I
And now
thought,
he
oh, this
hits
is-
an ace.
It doesn't hurt anymore.
And Maria checks here, and Phil's going to check it back.
So I quit. I took a Ustream.
And now Maria is going to bluff at it here.
I wore
Pot's 1175. She bets 800.
People were saying, oh, he's
And
sleeping.
Phil's gonna call.
Queen high.
Ton of hours.
Interviews, and then I just. Hours has elapsed.
Again, we're here for the Poker Night in America
Thing happened the
Twitch
next-
cash game, brought to you by 888 Poker, DraftKings, and Giant Sunflowers. Giant Sunflowers, of course, the preferred sunflower seeds of poker players and professional baseball players
Like
alike.
logo sticking for.
Check them out.
You know,
Button moves over here to Phil Hellmuth. And Locke's going to open this one here for a raise.
A lot of it because I bought it.